Huh? Wow, that did better than I was expecting. Wait, did I post this in September? October 28th? But that means...
Oh! Just 3 more days until Halloween.
But this video will probably be 1 or 2 days before Halloween.
Whatever, it doesn't make a difference.
I think these masks were too much.
Nah, she'll be fine.
Salutations! It is I, the Kitty Empress, and today we are back with another LPS Sketchbook video. Last video I said that I was going to continue with the sea creature costumes, but October kinda snuck up on me. And last video there was a person, Dorian Knox, that left a very cool request for a Halloween special during October, and I thought, wow, that would be such a fun video to make. And I really wanted to do this idea. I didn't want to have to wait until next Halloween, so I'm just gonna push the sea creature costume video idea back a little bit. If you're new here, pretty much this little series is about me drawing my characters from LPS Calico Cove and a lot of different silly fun ways in my sketchbook, whether it's scenes from specific episodes or characters in specific situations or just drawing them in cute little outfits. That's the gist of it. Anyways, enough with my rambling. Let's get on to the video. Huzzah! First up, we got Oliver in a jack-o'-lantern costume. I thought it was just too perfect to put one of my tiger characters in a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin costume. It was just too perfect of an idea. And I have him here sitting in a little wagon chocked full of other silly little jack-o'-lanterns. He's looking up and kind of scoffing at the tiniest of the jack-o'-lanterns that has the silliest little smile on its face. Also, please excuse the weird muddiness all over the paper. That is a result of me using the sketch for a college art project. I wanted to use the sketch and transfer it over to a copper plate for a printmaking assignment, but it ended up leaving a bit of a weird residue on the paper. But the good news is it didn't interfere with my paint marker pens. If you're curious how the print turned out, I'll put it up here on screen. It's called aquatint, the specific technique I was doing, and it looks okay. I definitely prefer this colored version over the version I made in class. It's a new technique and I'm definitely still learning, so honestly, I think I prefer the image carved into the copper plate over the actual printmaking image, and it's not very common for you to like display the copper that you carve into to create the print, but I don't know, I think it looks interesting, and I think I prefer it over the printed image. Anyways, circling back to the drawing, I decided to do the jack-o'-lanterns in a lot of different colors rather than just making them all orange. I think it's really cool that like pumpkins can come in so many different colors, and it's not often represented in like art, I guess, so I really wanted to show off how there's orange ones, there's yellow ones, there's white ones, and I also played around with the shapes a lot. I made some of them kind of tall, some of them skinny, some of them fat, and I gave them a variety of silly little expressions. I just had so much fun with this drawing. It was a blast. A bit about Oliver in relation to Halloween. It isn't really his favorite holiday. One, because, well, he does have a variety of allergies, so he can't really eat all the super tasty candies that are handed out. And 2, he isn't exactly a big fan of the spooky, scary kind of vibe. He kind of startles easily, and then he gets really embarrassed when he gets startled because he has a cat, so he kind of gets really poofed up and his tail shoots up in the air, and it looks quite comedic, but he gets pretty embarrassed when it happens. So yeah, not a fan of horror movies or haunted houses. However, he doesn't absolutely hate Halloween. There's some definite positives that come from its festivities and the season that it takes place in. For one, his mom makes him loads and loads of super tasty sweets since he's not able to have any candy, like apple fritters and candy apples, and one of his favorite things to do around this season is sipping hot apple cider while sitting on the porch watching the leaves fall and reading a good book. And here it is all finished! Oh, I love how this turned out. The pumpkin's expressions are so funny. Next up, we got Finnegan and Bonnabelle in little sheet ghost costumes playing in the leaves. Oh my gosh, the two look so cute. And as you can see, I drew Bonnabelle bursting out of a pile of leaves, going boo! And Finnegan responding with, ah. Both Finnegan and Bonnabelle are pretty big fans of October, but for differing reasons. Bonnabelle loves it for Halloween. She loves the candy, she loves the costume, she loves the candy. Wait, I already said that. She really loves the candy. Some of her favorites include gummies of all kinds, gummy sharks, gummy worms, gummy bears, Scooby-Doo gummies, Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Pops, lollipops, ring pops. Some of her favorite things to do around Halloween are play in leaf piles, obviously, and go on hay rides. Now, as for Finnegan, he loves October for some different reasons. Not as much enthusiasm about Halloween the holiday. He has more interest in the season. He really likes to collect beautiful fall leaves and press them into little albums. He doesn't mind dressing up too much, although he usually prefers to go for more simplistic costumes, not ones that are really itchy or uncomfortable. He also isn't really the biggest fan of candy. He doesn't have much of a sweet tooth, at least when it comes to like Halloween candy, because it's just so overwhelmingly sugary. His favorite would probably have to be Twizzlers, and that's not even for the taste. He just likes the texture of them. Alright, this is completely unrelated to the drawing, but I thought I would share my own little story around this current Halloween season. I wanted to look for some very specific, tiny little Halloween props for LPS, and I wanted to go to Michael's to do so. And the Michael's that is close by to my campus, it closed. It's gone. And I was so flabbergasted because I buy so many of my art supplies for my classes from there because they're not too expensive. So then I went to Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby was chock full of Christmas decorations. Like right when you walk in, boom, Christmas trees. And don't get me wrong, I love Christmas, but like, guys, it is still October. What are you doing? Why are the Christmas trees right at the front? So anyway, drove 30 minutes to another Michael's, and this Michael's was so sad and so tiny, and they also had hardly any Halloween stuff. It was pushed to the side, and the Christmas stuff was at the front. I was so peeved. Oh my gosh. And here it is all finished. Oh my gosh, this one might be my favorite. I love the colors. This is so cute. Next up is Olivia, and for her, I wanted to draw her in a sort of, mage, magical, witch, wizard, whatever, one of those sort of things costume. And in her adorable little magical costume, she is whipping up some kind of dessert pumpkin-themed brew in a cauldron. Don't ask me what actually is in there because I have no idea. Looks like a little whipped cream, some cinnamon sticks, some bits of candy corn. I really don't know. I'm not entirely sure if that's really edible. I mean, who's to say that it isn't actually poisoned? Not to say that she's that kind of magical mage. I don't think she'd do that on purpose. But also, I don't think she knows what she's doing. At least she's having fun. Anyways, a bit about Olivia in relation to Halloween. She is a pretty big fan of the holiday. I wouldn't say it's her favorite, but she does quite enjoy it and all of its festivities. She's a pretty big fan of the costumes. She usually goes for more cutesy, pretty type costumes. She isn't really one for really scary or gory costumes. More cute, aesthetically pleasing. She also usually helps her friend group come up with some kind of theme to have all their costumes kind of match in some way, which is really fun. At least she thinks so. Oliver may not agree with that. Another thing she really loves to do around the fall season is make lots of adorable homemade Halloween crafts and then decorate them all over the house. And then her favorite movie to watch around Halloween would probably be Hocus Pocus, which I know kind of correlates with her costume. But yes, she really loves the movie. She especially loves the Sanderson sisters. She thinks they're just such goofy, entertaining antagonists. Olivia's favorite Halloween candies are peanut M&Ms and candy corn. Also, side note here, I've heard a lot of hatred toward candy corn. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it, because, I haven't had candy corn in a while, but I'm just a little bit confused why everyone's just agreed that it is one of the worst candies. I mean, it doesn't have, any particularly strong flavors, does it? What's candy corn even supposed to taste like? Because, it definitely doesn't taste like corn. I mean, is it just supposed to be sugary? I have a lot of questions here, and I don't think they're going to get answered. Well, despite what the world may think of candy corn, Olivia doesn't let that dissuade her, and she will continue to love this unpopular little candy. However, I will say, there is a group of sweet treats that Olivia loves a bit more than any of the Halloween candies. And that is anything pumpkin flavored. Pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin Pop-Tarts, pumpkin rolls, pumpkin muffins. She really likes pumpkin. She even sometimes gets the urge to take a chomp out of pumpkin-scented candles. And here it is all finished. Oh my gosh, I love the color combo with the orange and the purple. This is so cute. Next up, I'm going to be doing Ace in a cowboy costume, hanging out with an adorable Highland cow. I thought it would be fun to draw him in a cowboy costume, since in episode 10, him and Cody were having a lot of fun playing that cowboy simulator game thingy. And I was originally considering drawing him with a horse that would look really similar to his horse in the video game, Butters. But then I realized that you know, Highland cows exist, and they are some of the cutest creatures on this planet, let's be honest. And also they commonly have adorable long orangey fur, which, you know, that definitely gives a fall kind of vibe. So pretty much I caved. I had to draw a Highland cow hanging out with Ace, and I mean, you can tell he's absolutely enjoying it. I mean, who wouldn't? It's a Highland cow. Cows in general are just great. I'm getting a bit off track here. Fall, Halloween, that's what we're talking about. Ace is a decent fan of the holiday. He usually doesn't go all out with his costumes. He'd rather keep his costume pretty simplistic or go for something more like a pun or a joke. Nothing too complex, unlike Cody, who has a tendency to go all out. But yeah, Ace would just prefer to keep it simple and spend Halloween either taking Gray trick-or-treating, passing out candy to other kids, and then afterwards having a scary movie marathon. One of his absolute favorite movies to watch around Halloween would be Ghostbusters, which, that's understandable, it is a classic. And then some of his favorite candies to snack on around this time of year are Sour Patch Kids and Hershey's chocolate bars. Here's a random fun thing to think about. If Calico Cove went from fun mystery series to scary survival horror series, who do you guys think would survive the longest or make it out alive? I think Raylan could make it out for a pretty long while. She's pretty tough. Oliver, he might pass away from just simply having too bad of a panic attack. His poor little heart would give out. Finnegan would probably do pretty well because he's very quiet, so he could easily get away from any danger. I feel like Cody and Ace would cause each other to get killed. They would get into some kind of argument and cause too much of a commotion, and then some sort of terrible, horrible monster would pop out and get them. I don't know about Olivia. She's kind of a klutz, especially if she loses her contact lenses, then she's done for. As for Bonnabelle and Gray, I feel like at the beginning of it all, they would be the ones warning everyone about the monster, but no one would take them seriously because, oh, they're just little kids. And then in the end, it turns out that the two of them come up with some kind of crazy kid logic contraption to defeat the evil, scary monster. And here it is, all finished. Oh my gosh, the Highland cow is so cute, and I love Ace's little cowboy outfit. Adorable! Next up, I'm gonna be drawing Raylan in a vampire bat costume. Oh my goodness, I love the concept for this, and I love the execution with the sketch. It took me a hot minute to figure out how to draw her hanging upside down from a branch, but I just had to look at a lot of references and do a lot of practice sketching. Actually, speaking of that, here's a little picture of kind of my process when it comes to trying to figure out these drawings. I do a lot of like very, very rough sketches on like a piece of printer paper, and then after I've decided the costume, I practice sketch the pose a few times so that I can get it just right, and then finally I sketch it out onto a nicer piece of paper. So yeah, there's a little fun insight into my process. Anyways, circling back to Raylan, this has got to be one of her favorite holidays. It's kind of a bit of a tie with Thanksgiving because, you know, tasty food. But anyway, yes, she loves Halloween, not just for the candy, but dressing up. She usually goes for more spooky, scary, intimidating costumes. And every Halloween, at least once, she will find some sort of way to sneak up and spook Oliver. Not to any severe degree, but just enough to get him all poofed up and looking, you know, like a classic little Halloween cat, which he does not like, but she finds to be absolutely adorable and hilarious. Raylan's favorite candies are Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and Pop Rocks. Although she's pretty down to eat basically any kind of candy, whether it's really sour like Warheads or really gross like the Jelly Belly Bean Boozles candies. Speaking of which, it seems like with most people, they have at least one or two candies that they absolutely detest and will just like chuck out of their Halloween bags. Like, for example, my husband hates Almond Joys, which I actually happen to absolutely love, and he thinks I'm weird for liking them, but I think they're great. I love the little coconutty taste, and it's fine by me that he doesn't like them, because I get to have them all to myself. Another fun fact about Raylan, one of her favorite movies to watch around the spooky season is Monster House, which isn't particularly a very scary movie, but it is very funny. I should know, me and my husband just recently watched it, and we were absolutely cracking up throughout all of it. I haven't seen it in such a long time, and I'd completely forgotten how goofy the movie is. It's also pretty creative with like how they designed and like the functions of the monster house itself. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out because it's a very silly, fun watch. And here is her drawing all finished. Oh, I love how this turned out. It is so cool. And next up, I'm going to be drawing Cody in a clown costume. I'm gonna tell everyone right now, I was really indecisive with the colors for this one. I should have pre-planned a color scheme, but instead I just jumped right into it, and then I kept changing my mind throughout the process. The issue is that I kept looking at clowns on Pinterest for references, and a lot of them had cute pastels in their costumes, and I was like, oh, I like pastel costumes, I'll do that. And then my husband pointed it out to me, and he was like, those don't look like Halloween colors. And he was right, it did not look like Halloween colors, so I switched it up, went to green and black and orange, and I think it definitely looks a lot more Halloween-y now. Looks kind of Nightmare Before Christmas-esque. Anyways, circling back to Cody, I dressed him up in a scary clown costume because Cody actually works at the local haunted house on Calico Cove, and he absolutely loves to jump out and spook and startle and trick people that go through the haunted house. And he chose to dress up as a clown because he knows that there's a lot of people that have a pretty big fear of clowns. I personally don't. I honestly think clowns are awesome and hilarious, but a lot of people seem to think they're pretty spooky. Maybe it's the weird face paint or the cheesy jokes are just uncanny, I guess? I don't know. Some more about Cody in relation to Halloween. His favorite candies are Whoppers and Skittles. And his favorite thing to watch around the spooky season is the Goosebumps series, which really is not particularly scary. The show is very cheesy. But for Cody, the show holds a lot of nostalgia for him. When he was younger, he was a really big fan of the books and the show, and to this day, he still watches some of the episodes when Halloween rolls around. He actually tried to get Gray into it, but poor little Gray is just a little bit sensitive, and he doesn't handle spooks and scares all that well. Especially watching Night of the Living Dummy. Once he saw Slappy on screen, he just immediately tapped out. He was done. He wanted to go back to watching Scooby-Doo. No more Goosebumps for him. No thank you. Here it is all finished. I added some stripes to the background. I really feel like this is giving Oogie Boogie Nightmare Before Christmas vibes. And finally, we are at our last character in a costume. This is Gray. I'm not going to outright state what he's dressed up as. I mean, it might become obvious in a few minutes, but I think it'll be fun to wait and fully announce what he is at the very end. But I decided to draw him working on carving a pumpkin. Carving pumpkins is definitely Gray's absolute favorite thing to do on Halloween. I know it's surprising. Most kids love eating candy and trick-or-treating, but Gray is here for the pumpkin carving, which it kind of makes sense. Gray really loves to creatively express himself. He is known for making lots of doodles, so carving pumpkins is a pretty different process, but he's come to absolutely love scooping out the weird, gross pumpkin guts and then making all kinds of silly, fun little faces into his pumpkins. I also drew his little toy ducky, Captain Shutter, down there. He has a little pumpkin hat on his head. Ah, so cute. Some more about Gray in relation to Halloween. His favorite candies are jelly beans and the marshmallow ghost peeps. And then his favorite thing to watch around the spooky season is, as previously stated, Scooby-Doo. More specifically, What's New Scooby-Doo. Partially because, well, it does have the best theme song out of all of them, at least in Gray's opinion. Real quick, I have something to share, unrelated to Gray's drawing. I showed one of my friends a picture of the drawing I did for Olivia, and she said that the little pumpkin spice brew that Olivia's making, she said it looks like nacho cheese, and the little candy corns look like the chips, and the whipped cream looks like sour cream. And, like, could you imagine if, like, you got a cup full of that and you thought you were about to drink some sort of pumpkin spice beverage and it turned out to be nacho cheese? I feel like I would flip a table out of how bamboozled I would have been from that. And here is Gray's drawing, all finished. He's dressed up as a, puppy platypus? I don't see how this is on theme with everyone else's costumes. Perry the puppy platypus? And here is everything glued into my sketchbook. First up, we got Cody against the screen background. I unfortunately wasn't able to add any extra sketches to the pages because I kind of ran out of time. But here's Ace with his Highland cow against this orange background. Oh my gosh, that drawing is so cute. Here is Raylan against this red background. Don't mind the glue residue there on the page. Ugh. Up here is Olivia against this purple background. She looks so cute. And then finally, for the last two pages, we've got Oliver and Gray against this orange background. I thought it'd be kind of funny to put the both of them next to each other since they're both involved with silly little pumpkins. And then finally we got Finnegan and Bonnabelle against this brown background. I still think this one's my favorite. I love the colors so much. And that brings us to the end. I had so much fun with this video. Big thank you to Dorian Rex for leaving this request. This was an awesome video to make. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Let me know in the comment section down below whose costume is your favorite. Thank you all so much for watching. God bless and wait! Oh no, you are not spooking me again.
Well, we're not here to do that. Not this time, anyway. We just wanted to say sorry for scaring you so bad.
Well, it's gonna take a bit more than a simple apology to make up for that. You two startled me so badly that I face planted. In front of the camera. In front of hundreds of viewers. Or maybe just like 30 or something, I don't know.
Would this suffice?
Finnegan, I'm sorry.
this suffice?
Oh, it's really heavy.
Is that a...
Giant almond joy. Oh, it's really heavy.
And it's your favorite candy. So is all forgiven?
Yes. Yes, all is forgiven. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go eat this entire thing in one sitting.
Happy